Leica Radio.
Talking Points with Keith VAZ on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
Good morning and welcome to Talking Points with me, Keith VAZ. Thank you for joining me today, Sunday the 14th of June 2020. This weekend in 1825, the safety pin, that little gadget, was invented and patented, and the rights to produce safety pins was sold for only $400. And in 1987, President Johnson nominated Thurgood Marshall to become the first black judge to sit on the US Supreme Court. On the programme today, I will be talking to an entrepreneur who came to Britain aged 9 from Pakistan and built up an IT empire, as well as owning his own football club in Hampshire. We will also be speaking to a leading British Asian actress about the effects of COVID-19 on Theatreland, and travelling to Houston in Texas, where the funeral of George Floyd took place this week after his tragic death was felt all over the world. Our songs this week have been chosen by Ramesh Kansagra. There is a saying that if you throw a mango in the air in Moore Park, there is a 1 in 10 chance it will land on a Kansagra. The song today are dedicated by Ramesh to his family: Rishi, Divya, Surya, Aditya, Miha, Ronak, Sabri, Bulu and his family, Mansukh and his family, and Rajni and his family, not forgetting his wife, the lovely Carla. So please stay tuned. This is Talking Points with Keith VAZ on Leica Radio 1458.
Leica Radio.
Shahid AZEEM is the High Sheriff of Surrey, making him the first Pakistani origin High Sheriff in the United Kingdom home counties. Born in Mathur village in Pakistan, which is about 32 miles from Islamabad, he emigrated to the United Kingdom in 1969, aged only 9. After starting his career in IT in the UK, he worked for the American telecoms giant AT&T. He turned his first company into a multi-million pound business, turning over £120 million in 2006. He's been named as Asian Entrepreneur of the Year, Surrey Business Personality of the Year, and Pakistani Entrepreneur in 2010. He's also a noted philanthropist and chairman and owner of his own football club, Aldershot Town FC. He joins me this morning from Woking in Surrey. Good morning, Shahid.
Good morning, Keith.
Now, tell me about your early life in Pakistan. I know it was a long time ago, but what was it like growing up there, and do you remember much of it?
I remember most of my, sort of early life in Pakistan because my father was in England, I was with my mother, I was brought up by my grandfather, grandparents, and my grandfather from my mother's side was sort of seen as the village leader in the community, very strong, upright person. But the thing I really enjoyed was actually the vast open areas that we lived in. We had lots of lands, and the school was tough. Where my teacher, I remember to this day, was suffering polio, and he used to be on his fours, his knees. But if I got my maths wrong, he used to have these wooden sticks that he used to beat me up with. So I'll never ever forget that.
So you arrived here at the age of only 9, new country, new language. Was it a bit like East is East, or was it different in the leafy suburbs of Guildford?
The interesting thing was we arrived, my sister with my mother, in, I remember the day, it was February the 8th, 1969. We landed in Guildford about, after coming from Heathrow, about 8 in the evening, dark, dingy, miserable. We shared a house with another Pakistani family, and I thought, here. And those years now turn into 50-odd years, but it was just coming from a vast open area to a small area, but it was a real eye-opener.
But you left school with no formal qualifications, but you've been in the top 100 Muslims, influential Muslims in the United Kingdom, among many other accolades. How did you cope with going into business without that educational background? And what inspired you to get involved into a business career?
I think for me, as you said, I came to England in 1969. I couldn't speak a word of English. We were first virtually brown family to live in Surrey, and I had a fantastic teacher we didn't go through the normal lessons, Mrs. Golf, who would take my sister and I out to everyday shopping and areas just to understand the culture. So that was a fantastic thing. But interestingly enough, we moved from Guildford. My father's work moved from Guildford to Slough. So we've already been in England for about a year, and suddenly going to school in Slough, which is mostly Asians, and going to this school where all the Asians went one part of the school and all the English in the same school went to the other side of the part of the school. And I found it really difficult because I loved football, because as soon as I come to England, I loved football, and I used to at lunchtime play with football with English kids, and I used to get beaten up by the Indians and Pakistani for mixing too much with English kids. So I was the opposite of what's going on now. So I suppose sport was something that molded my life, because sport is something that I craved for, and I found sport as a great integrator and breaking down barriers. And so for me, it was always focused on sport, where I think you can do a lot more without even learning the language. So I suppose from there onwards, I left school with no qualification, and I wanted to be a footballer. I broke my leg, tibia and fibia, and that was the end of football career. And I got a job my first job was with Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Food back in 1977 in data processing. And then that's when I got into IT, and as I say, I didn't know anything about IT, but I had a great career there, I had great training there, and after 10 years, I left and worked for the Home Office. I worked for GHQ, London Document Development Corporation, and then left to work for AT&T when the baby bells were being split up. So I had a lot of experience in technology.
We're going to take a short break. I'm talking to Shahid AZEEM, the entrepreneur from Woking in Surrey, who has become extraordinarily successful in business. Later on in the programme, we will be going over to Houston in Texas to talk to Commissioner Ellis about the funeral this week of George Floyd, which took place in his home city. But stay tuned. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to be back shortly.
Leica Radio.
जाऊं कहाँ बताए दिल दुनिया बड़ी है संग दिल चांदनी आई घर जलाने सूझे न कोई मंजिल जाऊं कहाँ बताए दिल दुनिया बड़ी है संग दिल चांदनी आई घर जलाने सूझे न कोई मंजिल जाऊं कहाँ बताए दिल
इसे मुसीबत कहते हो छोटे भैया?
ये तुझे कहाँ से मिली?
आज मैंने तुम्हें माफ कर दिया। रक्षाबंधन के दिन भाई बहनों की रक्षा का वचन देते हैं। मैंने आज तुम्हारी रक्षा की, ये कभी न भूलना।
बन के टूटे यहाँ आरज़ू के महल ये ज़मीं आसमां भी गए हैं बदल कहती है जिंदगी इस जहां से निकल कहती है जिंदगी इस जहां से निकल जाऊं कहाँ बताए दिल दुनिया बड़ी है संग दिल चांदनी आई घर जलाने सूझे न कोई मंजिल जाऊं कहाँ बताए दिल
दूध गरखा गिर गया हाथ से। गिर गया या जानबूझ के गिरा दिया? झूठ क्यों बोलती हो भाभी?
मीना, भाभी को झूठा कह रही हो? बेशर्म। मेरे पास वक्त नहीं फजूल बातों के लिए, मैं जा रहा हूँ।
नहीं भैया, ये तो बहन की प्रार्थना है। बहन हो और भाई राखी न बंधवाए तो बड़ा अपशगुन होता है भैया।
होता है तो होने दो। हाय इस पार तो आंसुओं की डगर जाने उस पार क्या हो किसे है खबर ठोकरे आ रही हर कदम पर नजर ठोकरे आ रही
हर कदम पर नजर जाऊं कहां बताए दिल दुनिया बड़ी है संग दिल चांदनी आई घर जलाने सूझे न कोई मंजिल जाऊं कहां बताए दिल.
This is Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458. I'm talking to the entrepreneur Shahid AZEEM. Shahid, you did a variety of jobs before you actually got into IT. What made you realise that IT was your future?
I got a job as a data processor, and to be honest, I didn't even realise what the processor was. It just suited my training for my sport, because I used to work shift work. So I got into this IT business. I applied for a job as a data processor, and when I walked into, and I got it, I was successful, got the job, and when I walked into this massive computer room where the size of the washing machine is what the size of a USB stick is now, and so it was a massive technology, and I thought, this is the future, and I basically had no qualification, but I had great support from my staff or my team or my managers, and I was a quick learner, and that's how I got involved in IT, really.
Now, you then got a job with the huge American firm AT&T, which allowed you to involve yourself in an enterprise that was global. How did you get to work for them, and what did you do while you were there?
So basically, after my 10 years in civil services, fantastic training, they asked me to move into sort of policy making, and I wasn't interested. I applied for a job at Baby Bells when they were all split up, and it was all about communications and networking, and I got involved with them, and I had this entrepreneurial spirit, and I said, look, we should set up my experience I had with the Ministry of Agriculture, and I thought, well, let's try to because the mainframes were downsized into PCs, local area networks, and I could see the business was shifting, so I agreed to set up a couple of businesses for them, and then I thought, well, I might as well go and set my own business up, and in '89 I set up my own business, A&P Computers, manufacturing, PCs basically, and that's how I really started my own business in '89. No experience whatsoever.
Now, from scratch, of course, you turned this into a multi-million-pound business, which must have meant working, 24 hours every single day. I mean, this is not something that can be done easily. How did you manage to transform this company, and what was the timescale from when you started A&P Computers?
So, March '89, I had 2 kids, got married, big recession, but I had fantastic support from my wife. I couldn't have achieved anything where I'm at today if it wasn't for my wife, Samina. So
this is Samina, is it?
Yeah, so she was a fantastic rock for me to be able to deliver, to get on with my work. So for me, I bought £5,000 from a friend in '89, started manufacturing computers. I worked all the hours under the sun, had some fantastic breaks. I put up, because I had a corporate background with AT&T, so my business was going to corporates. So I set up some work with the Surrey Police, the Crown Prosecution Services. But my biggest break came in when the cable company started, and I started working with Cabletel, and I was the first supplier to a company called Cabletel, which now, believe it or not, is Virgin Media. So for the first 5 years, I was doing everything for them. So all the infrastructure from, whether it's in Surrey, Cardiff, Luton, Manchester, Glasgow, Northern Ireland in '94 after the peace process. So I did all the infrastructure for Cabletel, loads of other sort of corporate clients. So basically just grew the business, and then later in early 2000 I got involved in Gibraltar with all the gaming companies like Party Poker, bwin, 88, so set up infrastructures for them, and I had 5. Then we grew into France, so we had about, in total, I grew the business, and a company called Arkenis in France wanted to buy me out, so I joined them, and I had 5 offices in France, Gibraltar, Belgium and UK, and we had about 300 staff, and then basically I didn't really like them, so I sold the business and I left because I was their CEO, and it was all about, for me, is how you treat your staff, how you treat your customer, and it wasn't about money. Is just a byproduct of what you enjoy doing and being in control of.
Sure.
So I wasn't really enjoying all of that. I wasn't enjoying making people redundant, and obviously employment laws in France are extremely difficult. So basically, I just decided to call it a day.
Now, you run your own business. You've created another business, including Arcom IT and Folio3.com, providing IT services. Is it difficult to kind of stop and then start again? You have to have a lot of confidence to do that, don't you?
So, Keith, I thought I was going to get a 2-year break and spend some time with the family and everything else, and I got involved in charity. So I set up Mosaic for Prince Charles, which is a mentoring scheme for the South East, a very popular organisation. We go into schools and kids, helping with education, mentoring, support. But I suppose if I wanted to stay in business, or if I wanted to do my charity work, I needed to be in business, keep the contacts. But the biggest problem I had a core team of 15 people who worked with me for 20 years, and I left in a position that they didn't want to be with the old company, so they were blaming me, saying, well, you left us in the lurch. So basically what I did then was I bought another company that from an existing IT company, bought it, and I bought virtually all the team back, which is about 10 of them, and they're still to this day now, hence they work now for Arcom IT, and they're still here with me now. So I have the core team that, it's my responsibility for those, because they built me and I shouldn't really leave them in the lurch.
No. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to be back talking to Shahid AZEEM about his career in football as the owner of a football club and a former player himself. This is Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458. Please join me after the...
Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
Oh, I'm so worried. I bought the house, but if it doesn't rent out, what am I going to do?
Listen, relax. I've got the perfect solution for you.
I'm serious. I'm really starting to get worried now. Because of this lockdown, I'm struggling to find tenants.
Slow down, take a deep breath and listen carefully.
ZFA Group brings you guaranteed rent with 0% commission, free maintenance and 40 years of experience. We're also an approved local authority agent. Any property, any size, anywhere. To know more about guaranteed rent, call us now on 0208 514 3333 or visit our website zfagroup.com.
You can increase your chances of passing your driving test by taking driving lessons and a mock driving test arranged by mockdrivingtest.com. They will support you through all stages of getting a driving licence. So if you're a student looking for quick success or an ADI looking for more business, then log on to mockdrivingtest.com now.
मेरे पापा को गुलाब जामुन बहुत पसंद है.
Order online at pujasweets.com. From barfi, laddus, gulab jamun to samosa and gathia. From catering starters to dessert, Puja Sweets and Savories. Abhi call kijiye 0208 672 4523 par.
New phone? Great! Because now you can turn your old phone into cash in just 3 easy steps. Visit leicainsure.com/radio to find out more. Leica Insure services are supplied by Mobiles and Gadgets, a trading name of Quote Me Today. QMT is authorised and regulated by the Finance Conduct Authority 786619.
Furniture is now fully open, operating within government guidelines and practicing social distancing. Hundreds of items reduced, saving up to 70% off on sofas, dining, beds and bedroom furniture. Immediate delivery, stores Cricklewood, Harrow and Hatchen, or visit kfurniture.co.uk.
Lockdown is finishing and businesses are reopening now. During lockdown, people started to listen to radio more. Radio is the best way to let your customers know that you are open again. To win customers back is challenging, but radio can help. Call Leica Media sales team on 0207 132 1458 to make your customers aware that you are open again.
Leica Radio.
Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458, talking to Shahid AZEEM, the entrepreneur from Surrey, the IT entrepreneur who now owns a football club. And Shahid, I want to talk to you about your love, your passion for football, that, because of a illness, because you broke your tibia, you couldn't carry on playing football. Otherwise, you could easily be playing for Leicester City Football Club. Which is your position on the pitch?
I was left back. I mean, I'm not sure if I've ever made it. I worked very, very hard. So for lack of talent, I've put effort into it. But football is something that since 69, when I came to England, I supported Chelsea. Used to go and watch Aldershot. And for me, now I don't play that level. I'm past playing any decent sport. So this is the next thing best thing to be involved in sport.
Why do you think there are still so few Asian origin football players in the Premier League and in the various divisions? What is stopping us getting into these clubs?
I think there's a huge will from the football world to get Asian people into football. There are still barriers, have you look at it or not. I think, but one of the biggest problems from I feel is that we've got so much talent, but I think it needs encouragement from families and support from the families. You know, when you start, kids start at 8 years old, 6 years old now, and it's about taking kids to training, it's their diets, it's their education, it's their commitment, and you know, you'll be driving all over the country. So I think the parents' support is vital. I think parents' encouragement is vital, and also the diet, believe it or not, is vital as well. But I think it's more than anything, it's the support that the youngsters need from the family.
Now, Shahid, very few former footballers go on to buy their own football club. Tell me, what was the reaction of Samina when you woke up one morning and told her you were going to buy Aldershot Football Club?
Well, Aldershot Football Club was in administration, so Samina knew that, you know, there's a lot of media coverage about it, but she actually didn't realise I was buying it out of administration, so it was a bit of a shock for her. I think the mum, two boys knew because they follow football quite a lot, so that was a big shock. But I think the reason myself and a couple of other guys within the Aldershot put a consortium to buy it, because the football club was the hub of the community. The football makes or breaks people weeks on, you know, what depends on what the result is. And if you just look at what, you know, you being a Leicester fan, what it meant to Leicester when you won the championship, it galvanised everybody, brought everybody together. And I think for Aldershot, it was a military town. You know, we had 70,000 people, the army people were based there. The town lived off it, and it's a bit of a ghost town. So the only thing it's really got going for anything else is a football club. So it's vital to save it, you know, for the community.
Of course, Leicester won the Premiership, not the Championship, though we, of course, won the Championship in the past. Is it a family club? I mean, do you know all the supporters? It's interesting because the owner of Leicester, whenever he gets there, everyone comes up to him and, you know, mobs him and wants to have their picture with them. That happened to his father as well. Is that the kind of atmosphere? Is it a family show?
So Aldershot Football Club, our level of football it is about families. You know, we have third or fourth generations of people following and coming in there. And when the club was in administration, you had people gone on their holidays. They put the money into saving the football club. So it is a big family thing. Now, I'll get to know more people on the way travel because there's about 300 or 400 travel. You might be in service stations. But to be fair, you always get good coverage if you're winning. You know, you're a hero when you're winning. As soon as you lose it, you're a zero. So, you know, it comes with a lot of pressure, really.
Sure. And what's your ambition? I mean, would you like to end up in the next league up? Obviously, you want to progress, but do you have ambitions? Is this a long-term thing for you? Because you're one of the very few Asian origin people to own a football club in the whole country.
Well, I'm part owner with a number of other people. I never wanted any. I don't want total control of it. I'm a major shareholder and the chairman, and I've been. I think in 90 years history, the football club is going for. I'm the longest chairman they've ever had. So our ambition is to stabilise the football club. We've got to get the foundation right. So we're talking about putting a new planning application into a new stadium, a hotel, to generate more revenue. To actually, because you need the money to buy the better players.
Sure.
So being a sports person, I want to win everything. You know, like every player wants to win everything. Every manager wants to win everything. And so winning is absolutely vital for us. But it comes with sustainability.
Of course. We're going to take another short break in our interview with Shahid AZEEM. We're going to come back and talk to him about his current position, his current posts, and some other views that he might have about the current state of Britain. This is Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458. Please stay tuned.
इस दर्द को ले
is Leica Radio.
Leica Radio. This is Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
This is Leica Radio. Leica Radio Travel Update.
I'm Michael Page. On the M25 anti-clockwise at junction 24 for Potters Bar, the broken down vehicle's been recovered and the lane has reopened on the exit slip. In Kentish Town, York Way, the A5200, that's closed both ways for an emergency services incident between Camden Road and Cliff Road. In Blackwell, the East India Dock Tunnel heading into town between the A13 and Aspen Way, there's a broken down vehicle blocking a lane and causing a delay. And in Paddington on Praed Street, we've got emergency repairs and temporary lights outside Paddington Station. The A40 Western Avenue at Park Royal at the Mansfield Road junction, we've still got the traffic lights out there, as we have on the A3 Borough High Street at the Borough Road junction, so approach those junctions with care. And on the London Overground, because of faulty train at Kilburn High Road and engineering work, there's currently no services running between Euston and Willesden junction. And because of engineering work on the tubes, there's no Northern Line trains between Moorgate and Kennington, Hammersmith and City Line trains between Hammersmith and Barking, and the District Line has no service between Tower Hill and West Ham, and also between Turnham Green and Richmond. And that's the latest traffic and travel.
Leica Radio.
Sometimes it's difficult to find your perfect match. So at Mercedes-Benz, we've made finding the one really easy for you. Right now, you can get an approved used A-Class from just £179 a month. And with offers across the entire range, from SUVs to coupes, finding your perfect match couldn't be easier. Search Mercedes-Benz approved used today.
Based on A180D Sport, previous shape models, £3,191 advance, 48-month personal operating lease. No ownership, terms and conditions apply. Ends 30th of June, Mercedes-Benz Finance.
This is
Leica Radio.
Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458. Please stay tuned. We will be going to Houston in Texas to hear from Commissioner Rodney Ellis about the funeral of George Floyd, which took place this week and which he attended. But I am currently talking to SHAHID AZEEM, one of our country's most celebrated business people. The lockdown has happened, of course. SHAHID, you've been running a company that is affected by it, but you're also involved primarily in digital services. What's your opinion of the government's track and trace system?
Well, I haven't got the full details about it, but obviously it's not going according to plan because it's not fully implemented. I work very closely with Surrey University, Professor Rahim, who is the guru of 5G innovation, and they already developed a track and trace for their students, which is about 14,000, where they've got the hotspots or when they come close to each other, vicinity of like 2 meters. So we are now actually talking to Surrey County Council, actually implementing that because we believe that's far more accurate than the one that's been rolled out nationally, because that seems to be still issues with data capture and deliveries. But it's a new product, but it takes time.
Now, you were named amongst the independent newspaper's top happy list people for making life better for others in the UK. I suppose if they had a miserable list, politicians and ex-politicians would be on it, but you're on the happy list. How important is humanitarian work for you, giving things back to the community that raised you?
For me, in my own heart, I think people have made so much difference to my own personal life and the support I've got all through my life. And if you think about it, I'm a son of a migrant, came to school, 1-bedroom flat we lived in, left school with no qualification, have the opportunity to go and build a business that turned over 120 million, global offices. I didn't get there by me being very clever and everything else. I had fantastic support. But over the years, when we did that, we always give 10% back to the community. We always funded people because it's absolutely vital that you contribute to the society that gets you to where you are.
And one of the things that you do is you chair the Woking Asian Business Forum, which empowers the Asian community. How important is that work? Woking, of course, has the oldest mosque in the country, built in 1899. How much time do you spend on this forum?
I set this forum, I chaired it back in 2007-8. Again, look at the challenges of the Asian community, that they need diversity to become part of the mainstream, focus on the youth, the well-being, the females, the health service. Because, we've got a Basingstoke Canal, and if you live on one side of the canal compared to the other, the life expectancy is 10 years difference. So it's actually getting role models in the community and really creating a platform for the local people to have a voice. So that's how we started. And, we work very closely with schools and education and help kids to get into hopefully CVs and in job interviews and just trying to make a difference to them really, and that's been really, really good.
And you appeared on the Millionaire's Mission, a television programme. You were taken to Uganda to look at the funding and implementation of projects for the disadvantaged communities. How was that experience?
When I sold my business, I was approached by Channel 4. Would I took 8 entrepreneurs to go and live in Uganda to try and alleviate poverty through enterprise. And so first of all, it's a reality program. For me personally, once I come from a village, I understand poverty, I understand the challenges they have, but the whole systems needs to change. So for me, it confirmed the issues, how do you change people's lives, but it's actually how do you make a difference to them and the support. You need to change the whole infrastructure around it. But for me, it was a real eye-opener. I had a fantastic time there. Did I make a difference to 1 or 2 people? Yes. Or did I change the difference to the world? No.
You're now the High Sheriff of Surrey. Many people will be unfamiliar with the role of the High Sheriff. They would imagine you with your little sheriff's badge and maybe a horse. If I gave you a list of people who needed to be arrested in Surrey, would you be able to do that, or is there some kind of other duties that you perform?
Well, this position, the High Sheriff role, goes back to 1080, and in those days, in previous 1,000 years, you had far, far more authority. Nowadays, more of a ceremonial. You're responsible for the law and order, the judiciary services, the crime, the prisons, and it's actually really, for me, it's contributing, connecting the societies, and that's what my role is really, and supporting all of these various charities. So it's a ceremonial position from a majesty and just become a figurehead really, and that's what it is. In essence, you have the opportunity to influence, since I couldn't go and arrest anybody.
Now, the support of your family has been really critical. Your wife Samina and your children and your grandchild, your first grandchild. How often do you get to see them and gather together as a family?
I'm very privileged. My daughter is married, doesn't live far from us. I see my grandson at the moment. He's in lockdown every day, so I'm working from home. So that's fantastic. So I get to an hour and a half to play with him in the garden, football, particularly football, and trying to persuade him to become an Aldershot fan. My eldest son, he lives in Bromley, Zahid, and he's with Hannah, and we see him occasionally. My other son, Neil AZEEM, who's a copper in the Met Police, and he's been working all the hours, and but we see him whenever he comes home, but he's still at home. So we see him all together, but my family is absolutely the most important thing in my life, and yes, while I made loads of sacrifices, I couldn't have done it without them.
Now, Shahid AZEEM, it's been a real pleasure talking to you on Leica Radio 1458. We know that you have many years of service to the local community in Woking, but also nationally and internationally. Thank you for joining us, and please keep on doing the amazing work that you are doing.
Thank you, Keith, for inviting me.
तुझे दिया था रखने को, तूने दिल को जला के रख दिया। किस्मत ने दे के प्यार मुझे मेरा दिल तड़पा के रख दिया। दिल तुझे दिया था रखने को, तूने दिल को जला के रख दिया। किस्मत ने दे के प्यार मुझे मेरा दिल तड़पा के रख दिया। भंवरे के लबों पर यादें, कलियों के लबों पर मुस्कानें। भंवरे के लबों पर यादें, कलियों के लबों पर मुस्कानें। भंवरे का कलेजा कलियों में हाय किसने छुपा के रख दिया। किस्मत ने दे के प्यार मुझे मेरा दिल तड़पा के रख दिया। दिल तुझे दिया था रखने को, जिस दर्द से दुनिया डरती है, जिस गम से किनारा करती है, जिस दर्द से दुनिया डरती है, जिस गम से किनारा करती है, तेरी नजर ने मेरे सीने में वो दर्द छुपा के रख दिया, किस्मत ने दे के प्यार मुझे मेरा दिल तड़पा के रख दिया, दिल तुझे दिया था रखने को, जब दिल में तुम्हें बसाया था, आशा का दीप जलाया था, जब दिल
Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
Leica Radio.
Boiler ko leke confusion? Remember, Newman Heating ki offer. Valiant and Bosch boiler only £1,800 with fitting. 10 years guarantee ke saath. Supply by GMS. Call 0203 667 3806 or visit newmanheatinglondon.com now.
Finding the best rates to send money to your family and friends has never been this easy. Visit likeremit.co.uk and register today. Leica Remit is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. T's and C's apply.
बिल्डिंग वर्क में निखार भी और रफ्तार भी और क्लाइंट्स का पूरा एतबार भी। भाई बिल्डर हो तो ऐसा
सिंह डेवलपर्स जैसा। कॉल 07581 388 004। न्यू बिल्ड और रेनोवेशन एक्सटेंशन और लॉफ्ट कन्वर्शन
और सैकड़ों सेटिस्फाइड कस्टमर्स की रिकमेंडेशंस।
फुली इंश्योर्ड एंड FMB रजिस्टर्ड बिल्डर्स। सिंह डेवलपर्स।
कॉल 07581 388 004।
A Leica Mobile Phone Shop free gift giveaway. A free 32-inch Android Smart TV when you buy a TCL 10 Pro just for £14 per month. Free earbuds when you buy a TCL 10L just for £6 a month. Both phones has a 64-megapixel camera and 6 GB of RAM. Free delivery on all orders. Free gift offer ends 31st of July 2020. T&C apply. Visit eshop.leicamobile.co.uk for many more offers. Yup TV offers a whopping £25 off with the discount code RADIO25. Watch all the popular Indian TV channels live with 10 days catch-up on Smart TV, your tablets, computer and mobile app. Buy a yearly package on yuptv.com with the discount code RADIO25 and enjoy limitless entertainment for less than £9 a month. T&C apply.
You can increase your chances of passing your driving test by taking driving lessons and a mock driving test arranged by mockdrivingtest.com. They will support you through all stages of getting a driving licence. So if you're a student looking for quick success or an ADI looking for more business, then log on to mockdrivingtest.com now.
Leica Radio.
This is Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458 AM.
COVID-19 has had a dramatic effect on Theatreland. Let's talk to one of our leading British Asian actresses, Sheena Bethesa. Sheena has crossed the divide. She's worked alongside Bobby Deol and Saif Ali Khan, has been in EastEnders, had a part in the award-winning production The Great Game, and of course was in Queen Anne at the Theatre Royal Haymarket. She joins me this morning from central London. Good morning, Sheena.
Good morning, Keith. How are you?
I'm fine. Now, how has Theatreland in London changed for you since COVID arrived?
Well, Theatreland is shut down completely. So from my point of view, I mean, there's no work right now. It's a personal one because for me and for so many, we consider theatre to be the heartbeat of London, and it's what makes this city so vibrant. And now it's closed shop for the foreseeable future. We all know COVID has had such an impact on so many industries, and tourism is such a big part of it. Theatre comes under the tourism umbrella as well. And when we talk about theatres, it's not just wonderful entertainment for us in London and, I mean, all around the UK. It's such a huge draw for visitors to London as well. So for theatres to reopen and engage with these new spacing requirements to accommodate COVID-19 regulations is going to be so incredibly difficult. It doesn't matter how big or small the theatre is. it's about an intimate experience when you go to the theatre. I mean, especially with the seats so
Sure.
close to one another. So the fear that's going to lie amongst theatre goers is going to remain for a while. I mean, theatre folk, you can bank on them for being a really creative bunch.
Yes.
So I think the industry has done well to find ways to communicate with audiences. You know, they've been sharing plays on YouTube, and actors have been reading monologues on social media and skits on Instagram and things like that. And the advantage is that it's opened up this theatre world for people sitting in their own living rooms, but it's just not the same. You know, the magic of theatre is that it's live performances.
How important is the contribution of the arts industry to London?
It's times like this to emphasise the importance of the art industry, not just for London, but for all of us. I mean, everything we watch on TV, it often comes from the theatre, and it's come to light during lockdown. All the content that we consume, it's escapism, it's experience, it takes you around the world, it's educational. You know, the theatre industry in London, it's so important as a creative input to London, but you've also got to look at it as an economic driver for employment and so many things. So you've got, I think it's 290,000 individuals who work in the arts in the UK, and so COVID-related closures have had such a devastating impact. And I read that creative industries are the second biggest driver of the UK economy. Every £1 invested generates £3. More than 34 million people visit theatres every year, and it generates over £1 billion in ticket revenue. There's a chap called Sir Nicholas Sirota, who's the chairman of the Arts Council. And last year, he said that the arts and culture sector adds £10.8 billion to the economy, and that added £390 million than the previous year, more than the agricultural sector, and it's equal to Liverpool and Sheffield as cities. So it's creatively impactful, but also economically.
Now, how can people help with our theatres once they reopen? How can we make a contribution to this very unique part of our economy here in the UK, and especially in London?
So there's a lot of things that we can do as individuals to help. I always say that if you're helping the theatres, it's not just for them, but it's for us, because it's our own creativity and such a big part of our city. So if you have a theatre or a venue you like, buy yourself or gift a membership to the theatre. You can buy gift vouchers for future performances. Often people have bought tickets for shows coming up. So don't ask for a refund. If it's possible for you, consider it a donation. And that's such a massive help and impact for venues if we don't ask for refunds on cancelled shows. And, you know, so many venues are doing shows online, and, you know, they delicately do it for free. But if you can donate when you watch them, given that so much hard work has gone into bringing you the entertainment online. And then, of course, there's straight donations to theatres. Every little helps.
Sheena Bethesda, thank you so much for joining us this morning to give us a COVID update on Theatreland, something that we've not thought about in the past. I'm absolutely certain that we'll be talking to you again on Talking Points. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you very much.
Leica Radio.
Why take a risk to go out for banking when you can do all your banking with Yono SBI UK mobile app?
And now you can open an account without going to the bank. SBI UK allows you to open an instant access savings account online from your home. You can have an international debit card even, and 0.5% interest on your balance.
Visit sbiuk.statebank to open an account online.
SBI UK, a bank that takes care of you and your savings too.
Stay safe, stay at home, bank with SBI UK.
Mom, have you bought some of those delicious noodles?
You mean Coca, the king of noodles? Coca means delicious. Variety of flavors available in Coca Packet, Coca Cup and Coca Bowl noodles. Suitable for vegetarians and halal approved. The king of noodles, Coca noodles, packets, cups and bowls, now available everywhere in the UK.
Are you talkative and witty? Are you up to date with what's going around in life? Then we need you to entertain the whole of London through radio. Leica Media is looking for presenters for Leica Radio 1458 and Dilse 1035. Send your CV with your voice demo to Rupi, that's RUPI, at leicaradio.com.
Boiler को लेके confusion? Remember, Newman Heating की offer. Valiant and Bosch boiler only £1,800 with fitting. 10 years guarantee के साथ. Supply by GMS. Call 0203 667 3806 or visit newmanheatinglondon.com now.
During this pandemic, gold prices are at a record high. हम आपको गोल्ड के बदले कैश दिलाते हैं. For your best rates for your gold, call Southall के most trusted Vaseem Jewelers. 0208 571 1193. VaseemJewelers.co.uk.
Furniture is now fully open, operating within government guidelines and practicing social distancing. Hundreds of items reduced, saving up to 70% off on sofas, dining, beds and bedroom furniture. Immediate delivery, stores Cricklewood, Harrow and Hatchen, or visit kfurniture.co.uk.
This is Leica Radio.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458. The funeral took place this week in Houston, Texas, of George Floyd, whose death literally shook the world. One of the people at the funeral has been a senator in Texas for 27 years, and for the last 3 years he has been the commissioner of Harris County, an area that covers a population of almost 6 million people. Joining me from Houston, Texas is Commissioner Rodney Ellis. Good morning, Commissioner Ellis.
Good morning, Keith. It's good to hear your voice and be with you.
Thank you. You attended the funeral of George Floyd in Houston this week. How can you describe the atmosphere?
It was a very somber occasion, very crowded, a lot of emotion. The family was there, a number of American celebrities, large media contingency, although it was a RSVP private funeral, so to speak, for about 500 friends, dignitaries, and others. It was packed outside the church as well, and it was 100 degrees Fahrenheit as well. But it was also a somber occasion, but a celebration of George Floyd's life, and also a lot of anticipation, people hoping that it really is a turning point in terms of reforms.
Now, the protests over George Floyd's death have started a major conversation about race relations, not just in the United States, but also worldwide. Why do you think this has happened?
I think the outpouring of support and demonstrations in many ways are a result of people being sick and tired, obviously, as Fannie Lou Hamer said back in the 60s, but also the power of your profession now, the media, because it was captured on video, on a cell phone by that young woman, in her teens. We could all see it. And because there had been so many of these killings, these murders, Eric Garner, just a whole litany of names. And I think it just opened a wound. I think in part because of the power of social media. It was out there so quick. The authorities couldn't delay it. It was filmed. And also we're all locked down. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. So all of us are paying more attention to the media, to the radio, to newspapers. We're focused on it. And in some ways a reaction, I think, to the hateful attitude coming out of the White House in this country, to be honest with you. Just a total oblivious concern, just no concern for the rights of people, and an insensitivity, those mean-spirited tweets. I think some of this was a reaction to that, and just pent-up anger over racism that has gone on our planet for far too long.
Now, you have an incredible track record for fighting to increase civil rights for the people of Texas in your almost 3 decades in the Texas Senate. Do you see these protests as a turning point, or does the attitude of President Trump worry you?
I think that we are on the precipice of really substantive change. To see the young person of color who's police chief in Minneapolis break with his union is making us question the police union. It's making us question a lot of things that have been taboo for just so long. And, here's, I think, a reverse reaction that President Trump is getting. I think his cavalier, very mean-spirited tweets on so many fronts, as opposed to making people be afraid, I think it has angered them and emboldened voices that sometimes wouldn't speak up to speak up. I think real change can come, and I hope that's right. I mean, I'm looking over in England, when they pulled down the statue of the slaveholder. I've got a Robert E. Lee Street here out in a poor, unincorporated area right outside the city limits, but it's in my county precinct. I'm going to change that name. And you're seeing that all around, not just America, but in England, but the world. People are looking at whatever happens in their backyard and decide it's just not right. Keith, I've always thought, for some reason on the planet, for whatever reason, the darker we are as human beings, for some reason, the more the system tends to penalize people. And I'm serious. Whether I'm in Africa, if I'm in India, if I'm in China, if I'm in Mexico, whatever we have done on this color thing that has just infected our psyche. And these young people are angry. They're different from our generation. They grew up being around, and they're tired of it. And I think, serious policy changes. I'm grasping everything I can, pushing it as hard as I can. I just wish I was younger when I was doing it, but, you know, it's an exciting time to be alive. We've all heard that speech where Dr. King once talked about traveling the vistas of time as he reads history and saying that this is where I'd want to be, whatever point it was in his life. And I still listen to that speech and think, boy, I wish I'd been around. But this is an exciting time. It's a real opportunity, and I hope we as a planet seize it.
Commissioner Rodney Ellis, thank you so much for joining us from Houston in Texas, and we wish you the best of luck with your continued passionate campaigns for racial justice.
Thank you, Keith.
Like a Radio.
That's it for this week. Stay tuned for Bollywood hits that follows the news. My thanks to my very special guest, Shahid AZEEM, and to my other guests, Sheena Batiza and Commissioner Rodney Ellis. As usual, thanks to the Leica team, led by Sunil, the station manager, and my producers, Rupi and Adam. Birthday greetings this week to Nadmi and to Ratidal Govind. Thanks to Ramesh for helping to choose our songs. Congratulations to Kishore Khan and his fusion band Lokitera on the release of their new album Kubangla. You can download that new album on bandcamp.com. My final song has been chosen by my special guest, Shahid AZEEM. It's called Mera Raksha Kama. It's sung by Rahat Fateh Ali Khan. This has been Talking Points with Keith Vaz on Leica Radio 1458. Stay safe and have a great Sunday.
चोट दिल पे वो खाई मजा आ गया मेरे रश के कमर मेरे रश के कमर पूरा फैली नजर अपना सबसे मिलाई मजा आ गया जोश ही जोश में मेरी आगोश में आके तू जो समाई मजा आ गया ऐसे तू मुस्कुराई मजा आ गया
This is Like a Radio.